Hello and welcome to the inaugural Big Idea Showcase. I'm Emma Power and I'm going to be your host for today's show. Today we will be celebrating all the student achievements by awarding the top projects of this year. And if that's not enough, you'll also experience inspirational talks from some of the best creative thinkers and doers in Ireland on various aspects of the creative mindset. At the end of our event, we will be launching the Big Idea Interactive Virtual Exhibition. We are so excited to share each and every one of the students' projects through this online platform, and we invite you to experience all of the amazing projects after the event. We are delighted to have so many people tuned in today across Ireland and throughout the world. Our guests include our amazing students, teachers, school principals, parents, members of the creative community who are our mentors and our judges, and of course our partners. The Big Idea simply would not happen without incredibly progressive partners. Students have had the opportunity to learn in-demand skills with all the equipment provided to each student in a whopper swag bag, which they used for the duration of the programme, allowing the Big Idea to democratise creativity. Can we please take a moment now to say a huge thank you to our partners. From January this year, through school closures, online learning, level 5 restrictions, students across Ireland took part in a 15-week Creative Empowered programme. The Big Idea inspired students to use their creative mindset to develop the big idea to tackle some of society's biggest challenges today. The students were not alone in this. They had 101 creative industry leaders supporting them with active mentoring throughout the programme, sharing knowledge and cutting-edge methodologies, including universal design principles, which tapped into the students' full creative potential. And we are delighted to have an international audience today. We are thrilled to welcome Maria Walsh, MEP from Brussels, to open the Big Idea Showcase.
Hello from Brussels. I am here in the European Parliament and it is my great pleasure to open the inaugural Big Idea Showcase. The students involved this year have worked so hard in really challenging circumstances since January. Despite level 5 restrictions, school closures and online learning, they have proven that creativity loves a challenge. We must also recognise the drive and support of the facilitating teachers who went all above and beyond in the most demanding of years, encouraging students to build their creative capacity and so much more. Creative skills are exceptionally important. It is an in-demand skill that must be recognised and has been recognised by the EU as a way to help young people fully unleash their potential and be ready for the challenges ahead of them in both industry and society. These skills are applicable for every future profession. Sir Ken Robinson put it best when he said, "Creativity is as important now in education as literacy, and we should treat with the same status." As the youngest Irish MEP, I'm fully aware of the potential and impact young people can have. It has been incredible to see the energy, collaboration and potential of applied creative thinking used on some of the biggest social issues within student projects. Critical thinking and problem solving are exactly what we need as we move into a solution-focused era. The 2021 students of the Big Idea are truly the next generation of creative change makers that can positively impact not only their own communities, but also the world. I wish them every future success. I'm delighted to be a part of this. Gur míle maith ard mhór ort. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Maria for her support today. So from January, students in counties Carlow, Limerick and Clare developed innovative solutions to briefs that tackled the housing crisis, the pandemic, our ageing population, racism and health and well-being. Let's take a look at the schools involved. Well, there is our future right there. That was absolutely amazing. Now it is time to introduce our inspiring speakers who will be talking about the various aspects of the creative mindset. Our first speaker of the day, I would like to welcome David Pollard, who's the Education and Innovation Manager at the European Institute of Innovation and Technology Health. He's going to be talking about creative problem solving.
Thanks very much for having me. Thanks, Emma. So to get us started, of course, I was delighted to help Kim out. And, Kim being the amazing designer that she is, I decided that the best thing to do for my slides was to pick a font called Oswald and then just highlight it in yellow. So I know, Kim, your heart is broken, but I did this one for you. So we're going to take a look a little bit at problem solving and where it fits into the creative process. So if we're going to break it down nice and easy, one of the things that we need to do is obviously to define problems. It's something that all of you have done over the course of your projects. But if we start to break it down a little bit further, we also want to ask some whys. We want to try and understand what is the root cause of these problems. So for me, when I was in school, one of the challenges that I faced, and the teachers that had me faced, was of course, trying to get me in on time for my classes. So if a student rocks up, one of the things that the teachers might say is, why are you late? And of course, one of the things that I would say to them was, well, I slept in. I just didn't hear my alarm. and they would start to ask why. They would say, well, why did you sleep in? Well, that was my answer. I didn't hear the alarm. Why did you not hear the alarm? Well, I didn't set it the night before. Okay, well, why did you not set it the night before? Well, I didn't remember to do it. Okay, so that teacher's starting to ask these whys. And it's the same for yourself. You know, that they, in terms of getting down to the root cause, realized, well, you know, I wasn't reminding myself. That was a big challenge from my perspective. So they recommended that I would put down some reminders on my phone that would say, hey, David, you know, set your alarm. And then, of course, that was supposed to help me out. But it's the same with all your projects as well. It's as simple as that. Sometimes when you're determining what is the cause of some of your challenges, I'm sure that all of you have asked these whys, and some of those kind of techniques in terms of the 5 whys and things like that can be really useful for this. And we'll go into a little bit of that in a few minutes. But in terms of the rest of this problem-solving process, we also want to identify, prioritize, and of course then select some different options for solutions. You know, and all of you have gone through this as well. You know, maybe you've had some brainstorming sessions, opportunities to talk with your team and gone, you know, what would be the best way to move this forward? Some people have had ideas and you can bring this forward as well. So that's part of it too. And of course then trying it out, implementing the solution, giving it a shot and seeing how it goes. So my work has involved a lot of problem solving. That's part of, you know, how I've developed my career. I've had the opportunity to travel to places like Saudi Arabia, also here in the local communities, supporting people, whether they're students, whether they're local governments, whatever it might be, to be able to go, hey, how can we get involved in the problem solving processes as well? One example that I'd like to give you is actually that was something that was done through Xbox and Microsoft, and what we see here is an adaptive controller. Now, the original controllers for the Xbox, very, very challenging for people with certain disabilities to be able to utilize those and to be able to enjoy an inclusive gaming environment. So what they've done here, and the designers did, and this is a young man playing a computer game for the very first time. Turns out he's brilliant at it. He's there with the person who was working with him, and this is his first time racing around a track at 160 miles an hour. Turns out he's brilliant at it because he's been using an electronic wheelchair for a number of years, but you know, hadn't had the opportunity because the controllers, the original ones, weren't accessible. Now, through this problem-solving process and a design thinking process, they were able to develop out a new adaptive controller that he was able to then enjoy this process. But through problem-solving and through this asking the why and trying to understand, you know, some of the different challenges that come up with this, actually what ended up happening was that the packaging as well was developed in a way that was inclusive and could be opened by someone using only one hand. So again, as you go through these processes, sometimes things come out of it that can be really positive and creative and constructive, but also provide a lot of value for people in society as well. So I've mentioned design thinking, and for some of you to try and, you know, frame this and understand it, well, really in a nutshell, Tim Brown said it best when he said it's a human-centered approach to innovation. And it draws on some different elements of a designer's toolkit. It looks at the needs of the people, so it has that real human-centered approach to it, the possibilities of potentially technology, if that's the space you're looking in, and also as well, if we're looking at this beyond into the business world, you know, some of the requirements for business success as well. So it has desirability, viability, and feasibility. So is it something that people want? You know, is it possible, and should it be done? There's some different options from there. And you know, if we want to look at where design thinking fits from a visual perspective, because I always find this useful, we can see it right here. It fits in, it stems in to this element of the people side of it. You know, the needs of someone, the needs and the what they want as well can be really, really beneficial for this. And this is something that I really love. Some of the notes that have been put on this, they're not mine, but I think they're really beneficial, and I'd recommend you looking this up. This is a design thinking framework. It comes from the Stanford Business School, and it's got some really interesting ideas and frameworks here about how you can actually use this design thinking problem-solving process. And you can see here some of the different elements of problem-solving are very much embedded into this. So we can see define, we can see ideate and prototype and test. They're elements that we talked about. You know, defining that problem, getting that aha moments and those insights, and then, of course, developing out these solutions, having a chat and seeing what can be useful there, as well as then building it in. And I really love this yes and perspective. So when you're ideating, and some of you have been doing some amazing work with your teams, you've had a chance, I'm sure, to challenge each other. I love the idea of saying yes and to whatever someone suggests. So it's not saying no, it's not, putting that negative aspect to it, but it's actually embracing that and saying, okay, well, that's interesting. How might we actually go about this? But one of the key elements to this, from my perspective, is this idea of empathy and putting that at the very start of all of this process and really understanding who a user might be, what are their needs, and how might you impact on their lives moving forward. So really listening to them. In terms of design, I'm sure all of you have also been in this situation at some stage over the course of this project. And this is kind of like where your mind kind of goes throughout the different stages. So we've got our design squiggle. Personally, I always think about this when I'm starting off, and it helps me to understand that I am going to be challenged at the very start of this. Defining a problem is probably one of the hardest parts of the creative process. Really getting it down to one sentence and saying, well, there you go, that is the one sentence. So for example, David has a need to be able to, get reminded about, getting up in the morning because he forgets to set his alarm. So nice and simple, nice and basic, but it can be really challenging to develop problems, especially around complex issues, into a nice one-line sentence. So take the time, take the opportunity to, take a breath and try and get that nailed down, because it helps you frame the rest of it. And as you go through this kind of design squiggle, you realize, well, there are stages that you develop into that. It gets a little bit more streamlined. Then maybe there's some challenges, maybe around the ideation stage when you're trying to develop things out, maybe when you get feedback from other people after you test it. But finally you get to this end where you might have one solution, and then potentially it starts all over again when you get their feedback. In terms of empathy, I really like this structure. It's nice and simple, but it kind of gives us an insight into how might we actually start to, develop out and grab stories from people. So one of the things that I would say to you is, don't just jump into a conversation with someone and try and just drag all the information out of them. So one of the things that I would recommend is, introduce yourself like you would to anyone. Have a chat with them. Build up that relationship, and then from there start to ask kind of questions around, tell me about the last time. And from that then, those stories, rather than closed questions that only have yes and no as an answer, you're able to start to develop out and get a richness in terms of the information that's there, and it can be really useful, especially if you want to come back to them at a later stage. You've built up a good relationship and you can start to develop out and work with them. From that, you end up with potentially what is called a point of view statement. So we talked about this, we just mentioned it there in terms of the alarm clock, and this can be a really useful framework and something that you can use and take, maybe take a screenshot, take a snapshot, whatever, pause the video, whatever, and use this when you go back into the next year and say, well, okay, when we're going to go and create a solution for something, we're going to try and get this point of view statement first, and this will help us then to frame it all out. So this comes from Open, it's really, really useful. Some of the things from here as well, as we go into the ideation part, we're trying to spark our minds. We're trying to, encourage our minds to think a little bit differently, to think laterally on the challenges, and also to listen to some diverse opinions and thoughts as well. And this can be something that can be challenging to us because, again, we're testing our assumptions. We're trying to acknowledge that every single one of us has a bias of some sort in some of the different areas. And, we want to try and reimagine what we're trying to focus in on this problem and see if we can come up with creative solutions. So for example, if we look at some of the examples here, we can see that in terms of vertical gardens and things like that, cities at the moment are trying to reimagine themselves after what has been a bit of a crazy few months. Up in Dublin, one of the challenges that I'll set to you, maybe something to do next week, is to go into your class and say, okay, well, how might we rejig, one of the local areas there and say, for example, in this case, up in Dublin, we've got these two pillars. How might we turn them into something that might be a tourist attraction? Or alternatively, you might say, okay, how might we encourage people to be more active using these two pillars and start to look at these with fresh eyes and from a different perspective? Again, it's not easy because you will get challenged in this and that can be a bit uncomfortable, but again, as we saw with that design thinking squiggle, getting uncomfortable in this process is something that's really valuable. So again, look at what's in the local community, whether it's as simple as some of these telephone boxes that maybe not used anymore. Can we turn them into something different? Is this a project that you can take forward into the next year, something that you can do over the summer, have a bit of fun, turn it into like a little mini library, somewhere that people can socialize, whatever it is from there. I want to share with you as well a really important project that I was involved with last year. Myself and a couple of my friends, we set up what is called Team OSV, which was an open source emergency ventilator project that we ran last year. And these are some of our designs, and you can see that from the top corner all the way down to the bottom, it got a little bit more complex. So our very first design is up here and all the way down to the bottom. But I want to give you a little bit of an insight into, you know, how we actually got there and what was involved with that. So behind all of this, there's a team of about 4,000 people. So we put out an open call and said, hey, would anyone like to get involved with this? We'd really be interested to see what people could get involved with. We wanted it to be open source. We wanted it to be free. And open source, for anyone who's not familiar with that, is basically when you put up a design or you put up some of the background into something and you say, anyone can have that, anyone can use it, and you can get involved and actually, you know, utilize it in the way that you want to do or tweak it or adjust it. So we did that. It was pretty amazing to be part of it. We ended up having about 6,000 people who registered their interest, about 4,000 active members, 155 countries involved, crazy amount of messages that we tried to keep on top of along with our day jobs. But here's I love this map. It just gives you an insight into the amount of people who were interested in getting involved, doing exactly what you did over the course of the Big Idea project, is basically, you know, saying, I want to provide something valuable, something positive, something constructive and productive to society and to be able to get involved. So it was really exciting to be part of that. We were involved in a number of different countries and organizations as well, you know, from Costa Rica, working and talking to some of their government officials, trying to support them because they were a little bit behind us in terms of, you know, the timelines and things like that, and also working and trying to get these ideas and designs out to someone who could actually take them and make them possible. What we noticed was actually, you know, we had our own assumptions. We said, oh, well, definitely this ventilator is where we're going to go down, but then we realized there's a lot of challenges with that in terms of some of the law and regulations around this. So we had this enormous amount of people, and we said, okay, well, how can you get involved? What might we do? And we had Dr. Roisin Lyons, we had Jill Berry, who were able to support and to take that and with the OSVX project say, okay, well, we're going to start to identify and define new problems and go, okay, well, how might we set a team to be able to create solutions for these as well, from face shields all the way down into different elements as well. Again, I've seen some of the things from the Picky Uppy project where someone created a plastic prototype. We did similar. We used paper to be able to create some low resource examples, so perfect for that. Again, some of our project teams, some of our designers were from MIT. They were able to create things, you know, using some of the different projects and you know, we made mistakes along the way. We were chatting to different people and they said, okay, we need to change this and go different ways. But it was a team effort from there. And the thing that I want to leave you with, the kind of last element, is a story of somebody who, you know, came on board and was able to support us. His name was Merv. And he said, I want to be involved in this project, but he felt that maybe he didn't have the technical skills to be able to support in a certain way, like maybe an engineer might, or someone with a design mind might have as well. But what he did have was an enormous network of bikers. So over the course of the lockdown, what they did was they said, okay, we've got a problem. We've got care homes who don't have personal protective equipment. We've got other spaces over who have too much at the moment. We need a way to be able to bring that across from one to the other and be able to support people. So over the course, and Kim, I'm really sorry about my slides, but we had, you know, this group of people supported by Merv, ran across the country. They had over 900 volunteers. We ended up having, you know, people who were bringing their vans, bringing their bikes, all volunteering, having over 1,500 deliveries made to frontline staff and being able to support it. And that came from somebody following exactly the same process as you're doing, trying to problem solve, identify, define that problem, and then be able to, you know, work out, you know, what can I actually bring, what can I provide as value from that. From my own perspective, I think it's really valuable. I'm someone who has failed maths in the Leaving Cert. My first degree, I failed my second year twice. I went back in, I did, ironically enough, a master's in teaching and learning, and from there I was able to see, okay, well, this is where I might be able to provide value. But one of the interesting things was, in this project, not once did anyone ask us what we couldn't do or what we'd failed at. All they were worried about across the board with all of these people was, what can you provide? What are your skills? What are the things that you can provide that are able to provide an opportunity to support people in society, in humanity as well? And I think that was something that was really positive from all of our perspectives. It was challenging, There was lots of things that were able to, that came up. You know, there was tears, there was laughter, all of these things, but within it, out the far end of it, we saw that everybody was able to provide some value, you know, no matter what their background was, no matter what their network was, and that is something that I think that all of you have done really well over the course of your projects, to be able to come out and showcase that teamwork, that spirit of working together, identifying challenges and saying, hey, you know, we're going to share this with the world, we're going to share our projects, we're going to get that feedback. You've gone through that process, you've gone through the design thinking process, and it's something that us as mentors and having looked at that the whole way through, we're very proud of, and I think that you should be very proud of it as well.
That was amazing. Thank you to David. Next up is Roisin Lafferty, founder and creative director of Kingston Lafferty Design, talking on empathy in the creative process.
So I'm going to talk about empathy. What is empathy? By definition, it is the ability to understand and share the feeling of another. It's the ability to step into someone else's shoes, be aware of their feelings, and understand their needs. It's more important now than ever, said Vanessa Addison, a performance and growth coach based in South Africa. Empathy is the ability to understand and be aware of, co-experience the feelings and thoughts of others. When people feel seen, heard, and understood, it builds trust, and hence strong, healthy relationships are built and maintained. So what has that got to do with being a designer and running a business? Emotions are only for when you're in the safety of your home, your life outside work, right? The intangible, or sometimes considered the fluffy stuff, not the business stuff, wrong. I'm going to give you some instances and insights into some of my business journey, calling out a few people who formed small parts of the journey so far and helped form what KLD is and who I am as a result. In business, there are always trends when it comes to words used. Creative thinking, design thinking, emotional intelligence, collaboration, the list could go on. These are some of the examples of the very relevant and overused terms at the moment. Corporate companies like to cling to these words, these labels, a list to tick off and validate them that they are relevant and understand their people. They follow in the footsteps of the big guys, the likes of Google, Apple, Facebook, etc., mimicking the words but often lacking the depth of the true meaning. Like the word love in our society, these words get overused to the point that they lose their meaning. But the essence of what these words all mean is real, is important, and is the very essence of what good relationships, personal and professional, healthy teams and happy people are. And what they all have in common is their intrinsic connection to empathy. So step one. Let's imagine that instead of thinking that displaying emotion in a work or life is a weakness, why don't we flip that on its head and think of it as a superpower? Bear with me. Business is built with many ingredients, often starting with an unquenchable passion, and in my case, a passion for creating that I could not ignore. That's the magic ingredient, and the one that everyone understands and can easily recognize. But a business is so much more complicated than that. I've never had any intention of setting up a business. In fact, it was not something I could fathom. I didn't even do business studies in school. I was always drawn to the creative subjects, to art, English, singing being my favorite. But one thing I did know was that I needed to create. I needed to express my inner self and to design spaces, environments, atmospheres that would leave a lasting impression and to impact and enhance people's behavior within those spaces. I just hadn't got a clue of what that meant. I graduated with first class honours in my degree in the worst recession possibly the country's ever had. Zero plans, zero forward thinking. I took a master's because it was offered to me in London. There was no other obvious option, so I said yes. It was there that I learned a lot about myself, my character, and the very essence of who I am, stripped entirely from my home comforts and familiarity. I was forced to face myself, to step out of my comfort zone in unfamiliar territory and open myself up to fail. It was the most intense kind of education. I got to work with established designers whose critique could literally cut you with a knife. I learned pretty quick that you could not pull the wool over the lecturer's eyes and that hard work would not be enough to get through it. This was an intense learning one because in my degree in Ireland, you put the effort in, you get the results. So this really, really threw me. They were looking for the true essence of creativity. They wanted everyone to go to the depths of themselves and pose questions, important questions about their work. Surface level niceties would not suffice. That was hard. I would call my mum most days crying. I'm stubborn, I don't like to quit things, but that year was the one time I really couldn't see a way to get through it. At the time I hated it a lot, and there was no right answer. What made it possible? People. Step number 2, allow yourself to connect with people. Allow yourself to be truly seen as you. Rather than continuing to pull away and resist that discomfort, that difficulty, I very slowly started to listen, to properly listen to what they wanted, not what I thought they wanted to hear. As soon as I did that, things began to change. I started to get on with most of my lecturers. They were more forthcoming with advice and suggestions. I tried to translate their words to my master's project. I tried to draw out their meaning. Rather than retreating when criticized, I tried to take their words on board, especially when I did not want to hear what they had to say and not pull back. I started to treat them as people, human beings, rather than just authoritative lecturers. I had always been conditioned to think of superiors as above, not equal. Once I did that, things started to feel easier. Most of us don't truly listen to others. Quote, we tend to interrupt, judging what others say, or constantly want to fix or solve the problem. Vanessa Addison, business and performance coach. I discovered that by showing empathy in the first place, reciprocation from the other side almost came automatically, regardless of their character or inclination. Barriers were broken down, and more pure and constructive relationships could therefore be developed. This is a lesson that I carry with me everywhere. Everywhere I go to this day, it's not always easy to remember and the challenges change, but it is one that is worth reminding myself of. So almost back to the present, let's just say a lot of things have happened on my business journey. After my master's, which I thankfully came top of my class in and got to exhibit in London Design Week, it was still a recession. The only way to even get an internship in the places I wanted to work required experience that I didn't have. So it's this catch-22, what are you meant to do? As a means to get experience, my friend and college buddy Susanna Kingston and I set up a temporary business called Kingston Lafferty Design. Cue, setting up camp in her mom's box room, getting buses around the city to sites because neither of us ever learned how to drive. Having to ask contractors how to do basic construction because we had no idea. The business stuff, like accounts, invoicing, pricing, tax, yada yada, was more than a struggle. We jumped in deep and said yes to whatever presented itself to us through friends of friends, any contacts we could pull upon. It was a means to an end. Important note, in business, things go wrong, a lot. Issues arise, people make mistakes, many mistakes. me very much included, remember that vulnerability is not a weakness, a passing indisposition, or something we can arrange to do without. It is not a choice. To run from vulnerability is to run from the very essence of our nature. In refusing our vulnerability, we refuse the help needed at every turn of our existence. That's a quote from someone I'm listening to a lot recently, David Whyte. He's a poet, psychologist, philosopher. That quote is from his book, Constellations. We were lucky to stumble upon a project that was so far out of our ability that looking back still gives me shivers, but I kept telling myself that out of my comfort zone was good. I was going to take that lesson from London. A residential project that grew legs, becoming a conservation, architectural, engineering project, which we not only ran the project naively and completely innocently and not remotely qualified, but we also appointed the full consultant team of experts to work on it with us. Mainly thanks to the patience of Lafferty Architects, who I am a distant relation of, who gave me work experience in transition year and again in college. They allowed me to learn from them. They shared the process, the steps, the details that we needed to learn. And so we studied. I thought my education was over. It was not. We studied before meetings, so we didn't look stupid in them. We studied after them to learn what they had been talking about. There were plenty of tears and panic too. It was a 3-year education unlike any I have experienced to this day. We literally opened up the building to learn how the machine worked under the hood, and learn we did. That's an in-joke because yesterday my oil ran out in my car and it took me about an hour to open the hood of the bonnet. Somehow we managed to get planning permission for a massive extension, basement excavation with the Conservation Department of Dublin and appoint builders and tradesmen to create our vision. And that's about the time the adrenaline kicked in and the sheer thrill of it hit, amidst the doubt and fear of being found out as a fake. Since then, there are too many people to count that have touched my life in a positive way, believing in me when I had no proof to show them what I believed stubbornly that I could do. Kingston Lafferty Design, KLD, turned out not to be a passing phase. Instead, when Susanna chose to leave, I chose to stay. I chose to create a team of like-minded, crazy creatives, seeking out both friends, fresh graduate talent, and skilled professionals, people I was personally drawn to, and people I was intimidated by and thought were better than me. I asked for help every day and sought to learn about how the intimidating things worked: business, construction, pricing, all the seemingly non-creative stuff. Childhood friends have passed through KLD, picking me up when I was falling down a rabbit hole. I managed to persuade my best friend from college to help me, luring her in until she fell in love with the craziness. Becky is now my right hand, my business partner, my comrade, my confidant, and my most valued advisor and critic. I've been truly lucky to have got to work with some incredible business minds as both advisors and now clients. We have formed life-lasting bonds with craftspeople, artists, designers, contractors, suppliers, clients, and fellow business owners. We have had many knocks, bad eggs within the KLD family, which risked damaging the precious and valued team. Jobs gone drastically wrong. We've lost thousands of euro, damaged client relationships, fallen flat on our face a lot, doubted I would overcome the business challenges, the responsibility of having a team of people, the juggling of cash flow, the fear of not making the rent, the wages, not being able to create and deliver the way I've always wanted. Some of those doubts are still there. The bar just changes and the challenges are different at every step. But KLD today is more than I could ever have imagined. My team, as you're seeing from the photos, are my friends. They are allies and design junkies. They are passionate, invested, and a true and genuine breath of fresh air to me every day. Our clients and external teams are too. One in particular is the incredible superstar that is Donncha Neary, owner of Sonica First Landings, where we are currently standing. And what a pleasure that is. A visionary that I continue to have the pleasure of working with. His belief in Team KLD allowed this incredible space to come from sketch to reality. I get so much personal and professional enjoyment from all of the people that surround me in my design world. It is because of them that I am fulfilled, have a sense of satisfaction that I can share. And that is only because I choose to be open, to be seen, to be vulnerable, aka to be myself. Without them, I would not be who I am. And we come back to the start. What is empathy? By definition, it is the ability to understand and share the feeling of another. Empathy is the ability to understand and be aware of or co-experience the feelings and thoughts of others. When people feel seen, heard, and understood, it builds trust, and hence strong, healthy relationships are built and maintained. So to sum it all up in some easy takeaway points. 1, be open to the fact that you're always going to be learning. The day you stop learning, move on to the next thing that will challenge you. 2, open up, kind of the same point, but never be afraid to share your ideas, dreams, and passions, no matter how silly and unrealistic they may sound. The projects entered this year are fantastic, and it is truly wonderful to see such creative passion. Expect the road to be difficult. Overnight success is a myth. This is my 11th year. Trust in yourself and those who earn your trust around you. People will take. Open yourself up to constructive criticism. Take it as an opportunity to improve. Try to enjoy the journey of the work you do, and all of those that embrace that journey and participate in it, no matter how small their role seems. It is only because of the people you've supporting you that you will succeed. And most importantly of all, stop and take stock, which is what writing this has done for me. I am my own worst enemy and self-saboteur. Develop self-compassion as well as compassion for others. You cannot give what you don't have. Self-compassion is the ability to speak to and treat oneself in the same manner you would to a dear friend or loved one. That's an interesting one. During stressful periods, our mind tends to jump constantly from one thought to another, and from worry to worry, restlessness, anxiety. That anxiety prevents us from being as fully empathetic as we'd like, and ultimately it limits the freedom that allows us to truly express our creativity. Everyone is creative. Creativity is allowing that inner child that we all have in us to be free. Don't restrict it. It's life's biggest joy. And last, but by no means least, have fun, play, be silly, appreciate the little wins, and enjoy your journey. Thank you.
Some really wise words there from Roisin. Thank you so much, Roisin. Now, all the way from New York, we welcome Lara Hanlon, Senior Designer at IBM, talking about the divergent thinking and in-demand skill for employers.
Hi everyone, my name is Lara. It's really lovely to be here. Well, I wish I was there in person, but it's really nice to be part of this event. So yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you today, and congratulations on getting to this point in the Big Idea program. I have to say I'm really jealous of all of you students who got to participate in the Big Idea. I absolutely would have loved this back when I was in TY. So yeah, I'm so envious, and I hope that you all had a really fantastic, exciting experience taking part. And I know for a fact, being a mentor and judge on the projects, that the work that you've done is just absolutely amazing, and I'm so excited to know that you all will be bringing such brilliant concepts and ideas and creativity into the future. So without further ado, I'm a designer, and I'm going to talk to you today about divergent thinking, right? So that's the topic for today that I'm going to cover. And so just a little bit of background. I'm from Tullamore, County Offaly, Ireland, and I live now in New York City, right? So that's where I'm joining you from. And I'm a designer, so I've made a career for myself out of being a creative person. And one of the things that I absolutely love about being a designer is that my job, right? My job is that people pay me and ask me to come up with new ideas, different ideas, ideas that maybe are better than the thing that currently exists, right? And in order to do that, I need to practice what we call divergent thinking. So that's kind of just going to be the gist of today's talk from myself. And I hope that at the end of it, you'll be able to take some inspiration, but also my goal is to give you practical tips, right? That you can actually take into the projects that you're going to do in the future. So without any more talking, I'm going to jump right in. Okay, divergent thinking. What is divergent thinking? Well, if we looked up the dictionary, right, if we were going to be really studious about this, what we would find is that to diverge means to separate from another route, especially a main one, and go in a different direction. Okay, so essentially what that all means is that divergent thinking is maybe taking a different turn, going in a different direction, or looking at things from a new perspective. It's essentially another way to say creative thinking. And I'm sure all of you have heard this, and not just heard the term creative thinking, but you've been practicing creative thinking over the course of the big idea. And not just that, right? We are all born as creative human beings. And this is just another way to make sure that we can tap into that, right? Our creative brains. And divergent thinking is just a particular set of skills or way of looking at things within the creative discipline. So I'm going to ask you a question, right, on this topic of diverging, going in a different direction or taking maybe a different path. My question to you that might sound a little bit divergent is, do you brush your teeth in the exact same way every day? Now, I want you everybody to think about that for a couple of seconds, because it's an important question, but it's going to maybe help us work through all of these ideas today. So do you brush your teeth in the exact same way every day? I'm guessing that everyone here does, because if you're like me, you probably do it like this. You take your toothbrush, you take your toothpaste, and you brush your teeth, because brushing our teeth is a daily routine, right? We do it probably the same way every day. No matter what way you do it, there's probably a routine in how you brush your teeth. I mean, you probably don't think about it very much, and you're probably wondering now, why is she asking us this question? But I think it's important, right, to ask these kind of questions. Because what happens if your toothbrush breaks, for example, right? Do we ever need to diverge from this way of brushing our teeth? What if our toothbrush breaks? Is there a better way to clean our teeth without a toothbrush? Okay, we don't ask ourselves that every day. I certainly don't. If you do, I think that's amazing, but I don't ask myself, is there a better way to do this? There's many things that I do every day, and I don't really think twice about them. But maybe we should, right? So taking that question, or multiple questions about brushing your teeth, I'm going to try and share with you a few ways to use divergent thinking to answer these questions, and then imagine new ways to do the same task, right? The same task of brushing our teeth, can we use divergent thinking to do it maybe a different way? So the first, and one of my favorite ways of kind of diverging is to use a spider map, right? This is an activity that can help you brainstorm lots of ideas and fast. And it allows you to diverge, right? Go in a different direction. It allows you to diverge from a single question or topic and come up with many different answers or ideas. Okay, so let's take a look at divergent thinking using spider mapping. Typically what we do is that we create this spider map. You draw or write down your question or your topic in the center of the page. And then you're going to try and branch out from that, right? Again, you're going to try and take different routes or paths or roads away from that question to come up with lots of different answers. But if you're a creative person, you might actually flip that a little bit and think about the answers being ideas. Okay, so you've got a question. What are all of the really great ideas that you could come up to answer that question, or maybe even solve a problem? So for example, if we take our toothbrush, and if that toothbrush is broken, or we're just looking for a better way to brush our teeth, we might, draw out from that central kind of idea or question and write down something to answer that question. So for example, if I don't have a toothbrush or I'm looking for a better way to brush my teeth, well, is there, such a thing, or could there be a thing around chewable tablets, for example, maybe made out of toothpaste that you could chew on and they could brush your teeth, almost like if anybody has a pet dog, you might give them those chewable bones for cleaning their teeth, right? Is there a human alternative? I don't know. You would then think of another idea, right? You would branch out from that central question, come up with another idea. And then if you're going to go really wild, you might branch out and think like, hey, actually, could we use something like technology and create mini toothbrush robots to attach to our teeth that could do all the cleaning for us, and we don't have to even bother? That seems maybe wild, but the point here is that by just placing one central question or idea at the center of a simple page, you can actually then come up with lots and lots of ideas really quickly. And this is what is called a spider map, right? It's just brainstorming. It's coming up with as much as you can. And from there, then you can say, hey, actually, this robotic toothbrush idea is a little bit too crazy, or actually maybe it's really innovative and there's something in that I want to investigate a bit more. Okay, so that's my first divergent thinking kind of activity, right? If you want to think about it that way. The next one is using metaphors. So just to explain, a metaphor is representative or symbolic of something else. Okay, now I think I love using metaphors because they're helpful when you need to explain a big idea using familiar examples. And they generally help to broaden our understanding of something. Okay, so if you come up with a big idea, let's just say you've done a spider map to help answer a question or come up with ideas for a topic. And if your idea is kind of crazy, right, like my robotic toothbrushes, you might need a metaphor to help people understand what your concept can do. It's kind of a way of storytelling, right? And the whole idea is that because it's representative of something else, people might be able to understand it better because they might be familiar with that other thing. So I'm going to give you an example. If we think about a metaphor for brushing our teeth, if we just for a moment think about our teeth and our gums as the grass and a garden, okay? Bear with me. We think about the grass and the soil, and we want to create a beautiful garden, right? Something that doesn't have a lot of weeds and grows beautiful flowers. Well, if the grass and the soil are our gums and our teeth, we need to make sure that we look after those things. We need to make sure that we care for our garden. So we need to make sure that we water our grass. And if we plant seeds, we need to make sure that we take care of that. And then over time, we'll start to grow our beautiful plants, shrubs, trees, whatever it is. And they'll become really beautiful and pristine. And they are kind of equivalent or representative of our pearly white teeth, right? So if you can kind of, see the value of creating a metaphor to tell a little story about something that is representative or symbolic, it can be really helpful to help people understand your own big idea. So it's definitely a way of diverging, maybe less so to create something, but definitely to explain the thing that you're trying to create. And then my third favorite way of diverging is this idea of, or this process more so, of elimination, okay? The process of elimination removes parts of an experience. And I think that eliminating things can actually force you to think of completely new scenarios that you never may have expected before. This might sound a little bit counterintuitive to some of you, and that's totally fair. Why would you want to eliminate something in the creative process? But again, if we go back to our cleaning our teeth, brushing our teeth example, and we use the process of elimination, if we think about all of the things that we need to do or the things that we need to use when we're brushing our teeth, I already listed out the toothbrush, the toothpaste, but we probably need running water, right? Most of us, I'm guessing, we take clean running water for granted. But when we're brushing our teeth, we need to clean our toothbrush, we need to rinse out our mouth, and we use the clean running water to do that. But if just for a second we eliminated something as basic to us as running water, suddenly it becomes a little bit trickier, right? And if we can kind of consider how many people in the world actually don't have access to clean running water, this can maybe spark some completely new ideas to say, hey, well, if there is no basic clean running water, something that we need to do this task of brushing and cleaning our teeth, how can we still be able to do that same task not using clean running water? Because people who don't have access to something as basic as that, should they not be allowed, or should they be eliminated themselves from the act of good dental hygiene? I don't think so, right? And just the same as if you were brushing your teeth and then that evening you hurt your arm, let's say you broke your arm, or for those with disabilities, which many people have disabilities where they may not be able to actually hold a toothbrush or brush in a motion that we typically expect us to do with a toothbrush to clean our teeth. For those people who may be disabled or out of action even temporarily, we're eliminating parts of our own body in that case, but it's still a really important thing to consider, right? It's a really important scenario to imagine, and you can actually do that through this process of elimination. So again, it's kind of diverging from the current process or task, the way we do it in our daily routine, and thinking about things that, well, if we remove this piece, how can we design a better, more improved or the same experience, but just in a different way? So they're my three kind of go-to or even favorite activities when it comes to trying to diverge when you're working on a project or trying to come up with something new, or just even when you're asking questions about even the most basic things. And the next question, speaking of them, the next question is, why is divergent thinking important at all? Like, why am I even talking about this? Well, for me, I actually think that there are many reasons why it's important, but I've boiled it down to maybe three or four. The first one is that it uncovers the unknown, right? So if we all thought the same, if we all did the same thing, we wouldn't really learn anything new, I don't think, right? So by thinking a little bit differently, taking a little different direction now and then, we uncover the unknown for ourselves, right? We learn new things. We're able to discover new information, go to new places, and it's actually, it's a really important mindset to be able to learn and adopt, right? And it just helps you to become more curious. The second thing is, and this is maybe a little bit more of an obvious one, but divergent thinking creates innovations, right? So if you think of any of the really great inventors, scientists, artists of our time, they all practice divergent thinking to create something new, something interesting, something fun, something beautiful, something radical, right? So if you take even the light bulb, for example, the light bulb wasn't created by accident, okay? Thomas Edison had to think about, well, how is there a better way to have light in our homes, right? Just like, is there a better way to brush our teeth, clean our teeth? By just asking those simple questions, we're able to diverge from that path and experiment and create new ways of doing things or new objects to help us in our daily lives. So it creates innovations that can completely change how we operate as an entire society. Kind of on that point then, an outcome of those new innovations, we have these new possibilities because of divergent thinking. So if we think about, I'm sure we're all thinking about it all the time, but if we think about the last year or more being, in lockdown, stuck at home during the pandemic, there was actually a possibility, an opportunity for everybody to still stay connected, even though we were all sent home from school, sent home from work, not able to travel, not able to meet our friends and family. We were still able to connect because we have these devices and technology like the iPhone, our laptops, we have Zoom, we have FaceTime, we have all of these really incredible devices and technologies to help us stay connected. But 50 years ago, even 10 years ago, the idea that the whole world would be able to do that every single day during a global pandemic would have been really hard to even comprehend, right? But because of those innovations, we've been able to have those opportunities and possibilities. And then the fourth one that I've included here, why divergent thinking is important, is probably my favorite. It's that divergent thinking can actually create a better future for everyone, in my opinion. I think if we were able to think a little bit differently, we might be able to create for different scenarios and more people that we didn't really consider before, right? I think we're able to create an inclusive society, right? I talked about this process of elimination, and I brought up an example of maybe people who didn't have access to clean running water or had disabilities. They're the kind of questions that we need to be asking ourselves. And by diverging from maybe the norm that we experience, the majority of people maybe experience every day, and tap into the minority, we could actually ask better questions and create better, bigger ideas. And to wrap it all up, I would encourage everybody that the simplest way to start is to always ask why. I mentioned briefly, if you heard, this idea of curiosity. I think that as humans, the most important and magical kind of superpower that we have is our curiosity. And if we can ask why, then I think that we can start to investigate and we can explore and we can decide to maybe take a different path, because if we ask why, we can say, well, why is it this way? And then we can say, well, is there another way? Is there a better way? Is there a different way to do things or to experience life in another way? And so I would encourage everybody throughout their lives, whether you become a designer or a creative person in your career in the future, I would just hold on to that spirit of curiosity and always ask why, and don't be afraid to diverge. So with that note, go forth and diverge, and thank you so much. I wish everybody the best of luck, and thank you for having me talk to you today.
Thank you, Lara. So many amazing speakers today. Now, I am delighted to welcome David Fitzgerald, Wexford's Senior Hurling Manager, TV presenter and entrepreneur, to talk about resilience, which is so important in developing ideas. Davy Fitz, thank you for joining us today.
Great to be here, Emma, delighted.
I know you're a busy man. Have you come far?
All the way up from the Banner County this morning, so listen, it's 2 and a bit hours, but it's great,
Yeah.
no problem.
Well, we won't keep you too long. I know you have to get back on the road to Wexford.
Exactly, have to do a bit of training this evening.
And how are you keeping?
Yeah, all is good. Year and a half into this pandemic, like, or whatever, life has been different. But obviously, in times like this, I think you always get things to learn about yourself and stuff like that, because like the norm as we had before, it's just been different the last year and a bit, and certainly I've had to relook at different things in my life, and I've done that, and you know what, the glass is half full with me, so that's the way I look at things.
And what have you learned about yourself?
Well, normally I'm a guy that's 24/7, rushing, doing everything, and trying to fit so much into that 24 hours. It's incredible. Maybe what I've learned is the people that really mean a lot to you in life, I think it's important to spend as much time as you can with them, e.g. your mum and dad, your family at home. Maybe I took it for granted a small bit too much, and I've learned to give a bit more time there. I think it's so important, and especially you've only one mum or dad, and I think it's very important if you can spend time with them to do that. So maybe taking a bit back in that, and also my health. Exercise, I think, is valuable no matter what part of life, or whether you have weight or whether you don't have weight. I think it's important that you exercise no matter what, because it's good for your mind, and having your mind clear is everything.
God, we're off to a good start here with the good advice.
Well, trust me, the only way I think you can give advice is if you can learn from mistakes you've made yourself, and I've definitely made a few.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because we're going to be talking a lot about mistakes and failures today. But Davy, resilience is a key part of the creative mindset, and I know that the Big Idea students would have experienced failing fast and moving on through developing their projects. Can you tell us how important it is for young people to develop resilience in order to cope with failure?
Well, I suppose, especially from the world I come from, right, you have ups and downs. You have good days, you have bad days. Where I learn a lot from is, say we might lose a big game or whatever, and that feeling inside you is so bad, it's terrible. What do? You have to get back up on the horse, and you have to fight again, and you have to come back again. I think the reason, like, what does it for me is when we achieve something, right? But where I've took the real learning from is what I actually failed at. How did I learn from it? What can I do different to make sure I don't get that feeling again? And trust me, that's the same in business-wise. I've done really well business-wise, and I've failed miserably. But I think the thing is, never give up. If you have a dream or you have something in your head, stay with it, try again, learn from your mistakes and come back. I think that's the biggest thing for me, I would definitely say, is learn how I can get better every time.
I think that's solid advice there. I know even for me working in media, like, I have failed so many times, and I've been told no, I haven't got the job, and you know, sometimes it's very easy to sit there and to dwell on it and to get really down, but what you need to do is, as you were saying, just kind of brush it off, back up, how can I improve it, and how am I going to come back stronger the next time?
That's crucial. I can remember there's one thing I wanted to do. It was a competition I wanted to win, right? Mm-hmm. It took me 9 years. And that's year after year. I remember going home, my uncle, after about 5 or 6 of them, said to me, are you ever going to win this thing? And he made a small little bet with me to see what I do with it. I got there. But it took getting knocked. But I kept with it. And that's why I'm saying to you, in life, you're going to get them knocks. It depends how you deal with it. My thing would be, I'm going to stay with it. And I can remember back in 2008, when the property boom went down the toilet.
Yeah.
I had big time I was in it, and I lost a lot. And you think your world is over. It isn't. It just meant that I had to figure out over the next few years how I was going to tighten everything, get back, and probably 7 or 8 years later, please God, I was able to deal with it. But big lesson.
And would you think that was your biggest failure to date?
That was one of them from a personal business point of view. Like, I can remember selling a property in 2005, and I made a lot of money. And I never touched a cent of it. I invested every single bit of it back in property again. And in 2008, every cent I had made gone, plus a lot more zeros with it, right?
Okay.
And it didn't get me down. You know what? I look at life in different ways, and like I've traveled to different countries and I see how simple people live, you know, and I keep saying to myself, okay, you'll get a knock. We'll come back. We can get back there. So that's how I learned to deal with stuff like that.
And that's the advice that you need to hear, because I think that's one thing with the big idea is that the students are learning to be comfortable with failure. So is that when you go out into the big bad world and, you know, you've got money that you're losing or you might be missing out on jobs, I think it's kind of preparing them for that life.
It is very important. Like the most important thing to me in my life right now is the time I have. I've learned that, how I use my time. And I will. I put X amount of time into my business, I put X amount of time into my sport, X amount of time into my family, and I think you've got to weigh up that and be the best you can be in each of them sections. If I have 7 or 8 hours for my business work today, like I have to be the best I can be. I cannot understand people who go into jobs or go into work and they actually are saying, I can't wait to get out of there and go home. That's 8 hours of your day you're wasting. Every bit of time we have on this earth is precious, trust me, and we got to use it as good as we can. So, like, I'm going down to extra training this evening. I cannot wait. I'll have 3 or 4 hours below at the boys, and I'm going to love it and enjoy it.
I love hearing that, and I think it's very like obvious when we see you, when we look at like your journey with young people. So you've obviously been very passionate about helping young people and about, you know, making a positive change in their lives. How do you remain so driven all the time?
Well, personally myself, I've had knocks up and down, but I have one word in life that, for me, it does it, right, which is hope. Mm-hmm. There's always hope, no matter what. I've dealt with young kids and they've come from tough backgrounds. Why shouldn't they have an opportunity to do anything? Of course you can. You can make an excuse if you want. There's excuses. Mm-hmm. We have so many people in Ireland that love excuses, or we have so many people in Ireland.
All guilty.
Yeah, like, and the first thing what drives me crazy in here, isn't it a terrible day out there? Isn't this wrong or isn't that wrong? That drives me cracked. Or even in social media, we have to comment on people or talk about them. I don't believe in that. I don't buy into that. Like, I will not judge you, Emma Power, until I meet you and I talk to you.
How am I doing?
I haven't now. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I think there's so many things out there that we have to get right. I think the likes of not being worried about what people say about you. Only the people that matter are the real ones that count. And trust me, I've learned that over the last few months myself. Mm-hmm. There'll always be people ready to knock you. And do you know what I think to myself is, maybe they're the ones that could do with a bit of help and that need a story. And that's how I've a turnaround. Yeah. I'm this person that's saying, today is Friday. I'm going to make the best out of Friday. I'm going to get as much as I can of it and see where it brings me. And we'll worry about tomorrow.
Somebody said to me yesterday, it was just with a positive mindset and positive thinking like that, they said, every day, practice this every day, pick 5 different things and say the weather, say it's raining out today and you're looking, you're thinking, oh, it's raining, it's miserable. But look out and think, God, am I lucky to be here? Or, you know, the rain means that the plants are going to grow. To find a positive for every negative and do that 5 times a day, and eventually you'll start to build that positive mindset.
That's what we need, 100%. Like, I was lucky to get to Nepal in 2012. I did Everest Base Camp. And my journey from when we started to when we got to base camp, seeing the people and how they live, trust me, we have paradise. Even the worst of us here have paradise. They are so content and so happy. And it just made me reevaluate stuff. It made me see how other people live and how they value life. And the time we have is important. Use it. Make the mistakes. Learn from the mistakes. That's what you do, is learn from, be better. So you can, like, but I know myself, and I'll still make mistakes going forward, but I'll try my best to learn from. Yeah,
that's it. It's just about taking the positives from the mistakes that you make. So creativity requires resilience and courage and imagination. And Joe, I think that's kind of really important in every area of life. So could you offer any advice to the students watching now on how to cultivate resilience?
Well, stuff you've talked about there, so if you look at me, I've trained teams for maybe 25, 30 years. Yeah. If I was to train them the way I did 25 years ago, I wouldn't have a hope of doing anything. Like, I love trying to pick new ideas. I love looking at other sports. I love sitting down myself and putting a bit of pressure on myself to say, okay, how can you do this better? What can make it even easier? What will stimulate the lads to even like training more? What can make them do this better? I test myself all the time. Don't be happy with something you've done 6 months ago. Say, what can I do now even to improve that? I think we constantly have to put ourselves under that bit of pressure and say, I can make that better. I think also the mood you create is so important. Like I know with the lads or with Fittest Family, if I go on to that and I'm any bit negative or I bring that negativity with me, I'm going to pull everyone around me down. I won't succeed in what I want to do.
It breeds negativity.
Negativity breeds negativity. But it's the same if you have an idea or you're working with different people. Be smart enough to think the way I am, if I'm a leader, the way I am is going to determine what this is going to end up like. I have to get the best out of these people that are working with me. And by being down or being negative or you're at nothing, the more upbeat you are, the more you're ready to go, that'll rub off on them. You'll bring everybody with you and you have a chance of achieving something. Be the best you can be and don't look for excuses. I think that's the thing. Like, if we lose a game and we've given it 110%, so that's it.
Yeah.
We'll come back again and we'll try again next week. We'll get it right.
You've given it your best, so you can't look back and be down about it. You've said, I've given it my all and it didn't work out this time, but it will the next time.
It's any part of life that is the same thing. It's pretty simple. Stop beating yourself up. If it's to do with exams, right, and this is one thing I would definitely say to students listening in, the amount of pressure you put on yourself. If I have a team going out playing in front of 50 or 60,000 and they get so tight and they're worried so much about it, they're not going to perform. 100% they're not. Like most of the times now before we go out in the field, we'll sing a song. We'll have a bit of crack. Because I want them loose, I want them ready to go on. Say, I'm going to perform here. And that's what I would say to students, even with exams or preparing, even after this to go into college or whatever the story is. Just know you have the work done. Don't let yourself get too tight. Go and just let yourself go and do it. Whatever it is, it is. If you come back and do it again, do it again. Simple as.
That's it. There's always plenty of options and it's never the end of the world. And we know during the big idea that students had to research their own topics. So you've probably had so many difficult tasks throughout your career and throughout your life. So what do you do when you're given a difficult task and you have no idea where to start?
Well, I'll give you a good example is probably with Davy's Toughest Teams I did last year, where I got 7 guys from 7 different backgrounds and had serious issues to deal with. Man, I was thrown in at the deep end.
Yeah, it's tough.
In a big way. But I trusted my gut, number one, that listen, just be yourself, learn as much as you can, help them from the experience I gained myself. Like you can't be afraid. If you're afraid of something, it's going to show. Trust me, I was put into a fairly difficult situation, but I was as honest as I could. I tried to help as much as I could. I researched different things as much as I could. I did okay. I'd like to think I helped the boys.
Yeah, you absolutely did.
A bit, but it was all down to themselves. Unless they wanted that help, it wasn't going to happen either, but they did. But we made them do stuff they didn't believe they could do. Like we did a few different physical challenges and oh my God. Like they said to me afterwards, I can just remember them saying to me, I'd never have done that. Get out and explore what's out there. Don't be afraid to take on the challenges. Makes you feel so good about yourself.
That's it. You always feel much better, even if you're terrified before you do it. Once it's done, you feel a million times better.
That's the best thing.
Yeah.
Do you know when you have that fear inside you? I don't want to do it. I don't want to talk in front of that bunch of people. I don't need that. But then if you let yourself and you put yourself into that small bit of uncomfort, trust me, when you have it done, you'll feel, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And finally, Davy, thank you. You've been absolutely amazing today. Lots of positive advice for the students who are watching today. But how do you keep positive yourself? Is there any nice little things that you like to do for yourself too?
There's 3 or 4 things that keep me pretty positive and pretty grounded. Like in the position I am, I get to visit a lot of sick people, right?
Yeah.
And some of them will stick in my mind so much. Young guy of 19 that I got friendly with died a few years ago from leukemia, and he so wanted to live, and his message to me was, people don't realise Davy, they don't realise. He said, I'm mad to live, and he said, there's nothing I can do about it. And he would have given anything to be here today. And when I think back of young Jack, it makes me value what I have. It makes me value it, it makes me realise how lucky. And he was a special young kid. I can remember having so many chats with him, and he gave me a lot. I thought I was helping him. He actually ended up helping me more. And being honest, like, I probably visit 2 graves before most games. I've done it for over 20 years, and I do it nearly every game. And it just makes me realise life is precious. Will you enjoy it and stop putting obstacles in your way?
Yeah.
There'll be ups, there'll be downs. Stop complicating it.
Yeah,
Stop
that's
complicating it, because illness and stuff like that, Emma, is something you can't do anything about. So when you're healthy, value it, get over whatever problem you have, and just drive on.
So live every day like it's your
100%,
last,
yeah.
and value your life. Davy Fitz, thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem.
Really appreciate it. The Big Idea students have worked immensely hard in very challenging circumstances, and their incredible teachers went above and beyond facilitating the programme. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
I loved it. I definitely want to do it again. It was so much fun. The creativity warm-ups were probably my favourite part, followed closely by the sense making. It is unbelievable when you've got 20 16-year-old girls in perfect silence in front of you and really connecting. That was fantastic. So yeah, it was so supportive. It was fantastic that we got all the lessons and all the materials, and each week was fun, and I think that was probably the best bit.
It's the journey that they've travelled all along the way. That's the most important thing, and that's really where the learning has been. It isn't just the last day and handing up the video and a couple of A3 pages. It's the previous 12 or 14 weeks. It's built up week after week, and that's been really useful.
It's a huge opportunity, and especially as well, it's so well run and so well organised. I mean, the 15 weeks have flown, but it also, like that for TY, when you're trying to do something creative and you're trying to do something new. I would personally love to do it again now that I know what's involved, because I think even I learnt a lot doing it, and I also feel I could do a lot better next year as well with them. So I think it's a great opportunity for any school to be a part of, yeah.
I think it was unbelievable, the level of resources and lesson plans that were given with the programme. I think the support, and of course, you know, the students love getting goodies, you know, and these were so well thought out and so effective. And it's just been a fantastic use of time, you know. It's a massive asset to add to any TY programme, I would say.
Very enjoyable process. I'm really blown away by the quality of the PowerPoints. It was a fantastic programme, it's so professional. Yes, I absolutely love being part of the Big Idea, as did the students.
It is a great opportunity for them to think outside the box or forget the rules. The buy-in from the students and the fact that they've enjoyed it. I put out the 5 suggestions and they chose the issues. They aligned with the teams, they came back with the pitches. You've got to open the box, see what's in it, and see how it works for your students and make it your own.
The videos, it was just the range. It wasn't just them sitting there listening. They were doing something. They were watching videos. And then they had activities to back it up. Yeah, and we felt very supported. The material was fantastic. It's so different from other competitions that we've entered. We've never had a competition like this before, and seeing them being able to adapt it and come up with these ideas and think outside the box and just think of their heroes in the local community and try and come up with an initiative to help them. It's just fantastic.
Wow, how incredible is it to have the support of all of these teachers? Now, to the awards. Let's find out who the big winners are. So over the last 15 weeks, 500 students worked tirelessly on their creative solutions, submitting 67 projects. 101 Big Idea judges had an exceptionally hard time defining the winner. Students were graded on their process, their proposal, and their learning journey. And don't forget that you can experience every project in the interactive exhibition that can be accessed immediately after the event. And also, just a reminder that we have 5 categories. Our amazing award partners will announce the winner of each category. From one of these winners, the Big Idea will be selected. The winning team will win €1,000 and each member will receive a new laptop. How exciting is that? First up, it's my pleasure to introduce Donna Canary, MD of Sonica, to announce the winner of the Housing Crisis category.
Hi, I'm Donnacha Neary of Sonica, the Managing Director. At our core, Sonica are a construction company, but we're so much more than that. We've got 66 of the best and the brightest people working here to deliver some of the most iconic buildings and facilities delivered in the Irish market over the last 8 years. We do it by acting differently than the competition because we walk, talk and act differently. We love projects that are delivered from a highly complex idea, and we excel in making those concepts reality. Where I'm standing today is my new 30,000 square foot HQ facility here, and it's like nothing you've seen before, and that's some of the main reasons that I've supported this Big Idea program. There's a misconception that technology is what's limiting human advancement. That is not the limiting factor. The limiting factor in scientific and social advancement is ideas. Ideas don't come from technology, ideas come from people. And I've been an ideas mind my whole life. It's what's driven me to set up my own business, and it's what still drives me today. So me getting involved in the Big Idea is my way of reassuring myself and seeing that the next generation of innovators and entrepreneurs coming through the ranks are bringing it. They're pushing the boundaries the same way that I did. And I gotta say, I've been blown away, not just me, but all the judges that have contributed here. It's been so reassuring to see that our future is safe with the talent and the idea generators that are following us now. So who knows, if I'm lucky enough, I might even get to welcome some of you here to the Sonica team in First Landing. So without further ado, I'm here to announce the winning team for the Big Idea to address the housing crisis. And the winner is Laurel Hill Coláiste, Team Muta.
Congratulations, Team Muta. Give us the biggest cheer.
Thank you.
You must be so excited. Congratulations to Alana Lonergan, Leisha Fenton and Niamh Butler. I am now delighted to introduce Orla Hughes of Port West to announce the winner of the Fighting Pandemics category. Is that okay? They were muted, were they? So that's...
I'm Orla Hughes, Commercial Director at Port West. Our company's mission is to be the best supplier of protective wear through customer focus, innovation, value and service, all delivered with passion and care. As the world's fastest growing protective wear company, innovation is in our DNA, and together with the Big Idea, we want to empower our next generation of innovators who will shape our future. We would like to wish all the students involved the best in their future creative journeys. The judges were set a hard task of selecting a winning team from so many amazing projects. Comments from them included, fantastic presentation, great work. I really liked your process of identifying the problems that teens experience with PPE. These are really good insights. The winning team is now also shortlisted for the ultimate Big Idea accolade. It is with my great honour to announce the Fighting Pandemic category winner. From Presentation de La Salle College, the winner is COVID Couture for creating desirable PPE for teens.
Congratulations, Team COVID Couture. That is Hannah Fanning, Aisling Bradshaw and Emily Keogh. For our third award, I am delighted to introduce Coleman Walsh of UX Institute to announce the winner of the Ageing Population category.
Hi everybody, my name is Coleman Walsh. I'm the CEO of the UX Design Institute.
Can I just go
We're
through the
big
names
supporters of the Big Idea because it's completely aligned with our belief that the future needs great design and that design is a great career and that design belongs in the mainstream of education. I'd like to wish all the students involved in the Big Idea the best of luck with their studies and their careers, and I hope many of them will choose a career in design. I don't think they'll regret it. So, on to the results of the Ageing Population category. Like many of the categories, the judges had a very difficult time choosing a winner. But for this particular entry, some of the comments included, very impressed with the level of research done into the problem. The team has truly understood the user and the way they live their life. And wow, this is also impressive. It was great to see your process, including your journey map, empathy map, and persona. And this team is now also shortlisted for the ultimate Big Idea prize. And so it's my great honour to announce the Ageing Population category winner is from Desmond College, Team Technopad.
Congratulations! Congratulations, Team Technopad. That is Lauren Ambrose, Jack Kelly, Ryan Doherty and Elzbieta Barasova. Congratulations! Lots of cheers there. Well done, guys. Next up, I am excited to welcome Michelle Naylon from Black Knight to announce the winner of the Combating Racism category. So, is there a...
Hi, my name is Michaeli Naylon. I'm the CEO and founder of Black Knight. We're Ireland's largest web hosting provider and domain name registrar. What that means is we're one of those companies that you don't often see making headlines, because we're providing a lot of the infrastructure for companies of all shapes and sizes across Ireland and internationally. We're powering their websites, their email, and now more recently broadband to keep you all connected with the outside world. So when we were approached to get involved with the big idea, we thought it was a really good fit. And we're delighted to be the sponsor for the category Combating Racism. The winning team was selected by top creative professionals across Ireland. And just a couple of quotes from the judges that really caught my attention. One saying, "You nailed it." Another, that they can see the potential in the project. Another saying that they've done a brilliant job of creating personas. As well as winning the award for this category, the winning team will be shortlisted for the ultimate big idea accolade, like the kind of Grand Prix. So it is my honour to announce the category winner. From Desmond College, Team Martin Orla Big Idea.
Congratulations! Another one from there. That is Team Martin and Orla. It's Orla Milan and Martin Campbell from Desmond College. Congratulations, guys. For our final category award, I'm excited to welcome Wendy Hamilton of New Watch to announce the winner of the Health and Wellbeing category.
Hi, my name is Wendy Hamilton. I'm Head of Global Monitoring and MD of Ireland UK here at the Netwatch Group. We deliver a proactive video monitoring solution which allows us to provide security to businesses across Ireland, the UK and the US. To deliver on this, we constantly innovate to ensure the safest environments possible for our employees and for our customers alike. So we're all about creative thinking, solving problems and creating efficiencies, sometimes in unusual ways. I know firsthand how important it is to work with people who have the ability to look beyond the obvious and come up with innovative and alternative solutions. To me, this is what the big idea is all about. And it all starts with your sense of curiosity. You look around you and you think, I wonder why. And then you look around you and you think, I wonder what if. And before you know it, you're participating in the big idea and presenting your project. I know the judges found it very hard to select a winner from all of the submissions. The standards was really excellent. And I was delighted to see that this particular project has video at its centre and is being used in such a positive way. I agree with the judges who noted this group's commitment to the teenager community and to finding an activity that promoted fun and being outdoors amongst friends. I also really like that the team was aware that they each brought different skills to the table and that each of those skills was central to the project. So it's my great honour to announce the Health and Wellbeing category winner. The winner is Presentation de La Salle College in Carlow.
Congratulations, Team Tech Trio. That is Stanislav Ustinov, Adam Collins and Adam Zielinskill. I believe you're one of the teachers, Miss Delaney. Congratulations. Wow, what incredible projects. Massive congratulations to all of the teams who won. You were all very lucky students to have such incredible teachers too. Okay, we're nearly there. Are you excited? Because we are so excited here. But hold on, as there is one very special award yet to be announced. Let's take a look at the nominations for Teacher of the Year. Joining us today is Sinead Toot of MSD to announce the Teacher of the Year.
Hi, my name is Sinead Toot and I'm Director of Digital and Commercial Operations at MSD. At MSD, we make medicines and vaccines for patients all around the world. We have a number of sites in Ireland at Ballydyne, Brinny, Carlow, Dunboyne, Swords and Leopardstown. So we have a huge footprint here in Ireland, and today we are very proud to be supporting the Big Idea and the next generation of creative inventors and innovators who are going to shape the future of Ireland. At MSD, we are all about inventing for life, and that's why this project and programme is so important to us. I'd like to congratulate all of the teachers who have supported the students through their Big Idea journey during this challenging year, and it's my very great honour to announce the winner today. This teacher has been chosen by their own students, and there were some fabulous comments, including how he has been a great support to his students. He's done everything he possibly could to get us where we are today, and we're eternally grateful. He's hardworking, a great inspiration, and determined to push us all to our potential. And he's been an amazing help with everything that they've done, and not just on the school project. You can tell he's very passionate about what he wants, and he wants the best for everybody. So it's my very great honour to announce that the 2021 Big Idea Teacher of the Year is from Desmond College, and that is Mr. Donal Enright.
Congratulations to Mr. Enright. I think no homework needs to be on the cards today. Well done. The excitement is really mounting here. We're now going to find out what team and what school have won the Big Idea of 2021. The winning teams are competing for big prizes and for the amazing big trophy. Here's a quick showcase of the making of today's trophy. Amazing to see how it's made, and here it is. It is absolutely beautiful and very heavy as well. I wouldn't mind having one of these on my mantelpiece at home. So each winning team will receive one, and I would love to be taking it home myself, as I just said. And I don't know how the judges are going to pick the winners. And speaking of our amazing judges, we have a very special message from some of them today.
Congratulations, well done. Extremely forward thinking. Presentation and video was on point, really grabbed our attention, so well done.
Massive congratulations to the winner. Absolutely brilliant job, brilliant collaboration and connection, and very relevant and powerful at the moment. Well done.
Yeah, so congratulations to the winners of the Big Idea 2021. I think that your idea / presentation was immense. It was really, really good. It's something that I could see anyone and everyone using in their day-to-day lives, and it really, really excited me, and that says a lot. So well done once again, and hopefully see you on the other side.
Congratulations to the winner. Your project and presentation and the team and the story was so inspiring. An amazing group of young people with such a huge potential ahead of themselves, with wonderful ideas and remarkable ability to collaborate together and to kind of really resolve some really important problems. So congratulations again, it was fantastic.
Well, congrats to the winners of the Big Idea 2021, and yeah, we had a great time judging. I think we became relatively unanimous in our decision with the winning team. For me, I thought the presentation was excellent, and I thought the actual idea itself was quite developed to the point of not needing much more work to see it in full flight. And I also thought that this winning Big Idea answered a problem that is out there and actually solved it, and so I can see it in use. So although they were all great, I thought this was exceptional. So congrats to the winning team.
Some of our lovely judges. And finally, the moment we have all been waiting for. It is my privilege to introduce Tanya Banotti, CEO of Creative Ireland, to announce the winning Big Idea.
Hi, I'm Tanya Banotti. I'm the Director of the Creative Ireland programme. Creative Ireland is an all-of-government programme, and young people are a really big focus of our work. Our job is to enable the creative potential of every young person in Ireland. So how great a job description is that? We do it in various ways, through things like the Big Idea and Fighting Words and other projects that allow you to be creative in school, and then lots of out-of-school projects like youth theatre groups and creative technology workshops. We also have a day once a year called Crinneú na nÓg. It's all about free creative activities for anybody under 18, and there's loads happening this year. You can do rap classes with the Human Collective, drumming workshops with Glór. There's the Gallery of Photography classes and an Instagram competition, and rap with GMC Beats. So there's loads on offer. Check it out. Creative Ireland is delighted to support the Big Idea, a project that champions innovative thinking and problem solving. We really believe in the idea of bringing the best designers of all disciplines in the country to you in schools. I hope this will have a lasting impact on your future creative life and the career opportunities open to you. So the time has come for the big reveal. It is my great honour to announce the Big Idea 2021 winner. And the winner is, drumroll, the Presentation De La Salle College for Team Tech Trio with their project Go Shot.
Congratulations, Team Tech Trio. That is Stanislav Ustinov, Adam Collins and Adam Zielinskill. How do you feel, guys? You're the winner of the Big Idea.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Can you give me the biggest cheer? Well done, guys. Very well deserved. What a well-deserving winner we have to represent the next generation of creative innovators. I'm telling you, innovation starts right here. Congratulations to all the teams who have won today and to every student who participated in this year's Big Idea programme. A reminder that you can view all 67 projects now on the Big Idea interactive online exhibition through the Big Idea website. The Big Idea has big plans to democratise creativity and to make Ireland the most creative, innovative nation in the world. If you would like to mentor next year, you can check out the mentor page. And finally, if you would like to enable students and schools to experience the Big Idea next year, get in touch through our website. Again, huge thank you to the students, teachers, schools, parents, mentors, judges and partners, to our team for hosting us today, and to everyone tuning in. Thank you all for joining us today. Have a great weekend and stay safe.